Let's jump into Who's Eating Good, served
Tommy
by
Cutlets. Let's go. Bring me home.
And guys, it's Wednesday. Lawrence is here. That means somehow Desmond Ridder takes up about 30% of the show. I don't know how this always happens. Desmond Ridder against the Panthers. He comes in as QB 24 for you this week, Barry, and you did draft him in our bad quarterback snake draft. So can Desmond Ridder stay eating good?
I mean, look, I'm a QB 24, so probably not. Here, if there's some positives here, like he had a lot of pass attempts last week, his most since week 7, and games in which he has at least 32 pass attempts, he's averaging over 19 fantasy points per game. Now, this game was indoors against the Buccaneers, who are a pass funnel defense, if we talk about it all. But there's a positive is they let him sling it, and overall, he made a lot of nice plays, kept Drake London and Kyle Pitts, their fantasy value, above water, as it were. They both had really good games here. The downside is like this matchup with Carolina isn't a pushover. Last 4 weeks, the Panthers have the third best pass defense in the NFL. Opposing quarterbacks against Carolina have scored under 15 fantasy points 6 of the last 7 games. This game is in Carolina, so it's not indoors on the turf. The more I think about it, I should have picked Joe Flacco.
Can't believe you didn't pick Flacco.
I should have picked Flacco. I screwed up there. I was trying to. I'll be honest with you.
You thought wrong.
I did think wrong.
Yeah,
I was trying to have fun with Lawrence and for
content got in the way of a
content
good choice.
over strategy, because I was just like, I'll mess with him.
This is why I wouldn't have drafted him this particular week. Carolina's allowed one 200-yard passer in the last 7 games. Ridder himself, that was like week 14 was his first game throwing over 200 yards since week 7. So going up against the 6th worst team against quarterbacks in Tampa Bay, going to be different against Carolina, who, Derek Carr, quarterback 21 versus them. Mayfield, QB 21. Levis, QB 31. So, and the over-under's 35. So, yeah, I was definitely not drafting Ridder in this little shindig league.
That's true. I think the biggest issue is that Carolina have a terrible run defense, and Arthur Smith doesn't need an excuse to hide Desmond Ridder and just commit fully to the run.
Crazy too is Desmond Ridder lead the team in rushing touchdowns.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping Ridder at least passes for one, runs one in, and we sneak by there. But do you want Desmond Ridder for Joe Flacco? I'll offer you that trade right now.
No,
I can't
give me
believe
Joe Flacco.
This dude throw it 45 times each game. Like, I want that alone.
I know. The Bears defense makes me nervous. The Bears defense has played really, really well.
They can rush the passer a little bit now, and he can't move.
Exactly. That's like
he cannot move.
That was it. Now, like he has a quick release. He'll be able to get rid of the ball, but like there's gonna be times where he's just getting sacked, and does he get hurt? Does he like? He's old.
He is quite old.
He is quite old. He's,
2012's a long time ago.
Trust me, I know it gets harder and harder to get up every single time you get hit.
You don't think you'd get up if Montez Sweat came at you full go?
I don't think I'd get up if Montez Sweat looked at me. Like if he just did one of these, like I'd fall over.
Surrender.
Yeah, exactly.
That could be a good content, actually.
Yeah.
All right, our next one here, Jay. Ezekiel Elliott finished as RB1 last week. He got all of the touches in the Patriots' backfield on his way to 27 points. Comes in as a top 10 play for Barry this week, which tells you Zeke should stay eating good in this offense.
Tell you what, he'd be the best running back on the Dallas Cowboys right now, Ezekiel Elliott. He looked fantastic against the Steelers, and I think the key is the work that he was able to do in the receiving game, where he was basically Bailey Zappi's number 1 option. And with all the injuries the Patriots have had at wide receiver, I think he's going to continue to be a big part of the passing game, and he just has more burst at the moment as a runner, and he's going to get a lot of volume. So, yeah, I feel very good about Ezekiel Elliott.
It's nice to see that it took Zeke going from the Cowboys to the Patriots, and for us to show him some love. But they're going against Kansas City this week. They've allowed, in their last 4 out of their last 6 games, they've allowed a top 10 running back in fantasy. One of those that wasn't was another RB13. That was Raheem Mostert. They allowed James Cook to have his best fantasy game of the season just last week. So if Zeke's going to keep getting 20, 25 touches, he had 29 last week. Yeah, we like that a lot.
Josh Jacobs as well had over 100 yards from scrimmage from them a couple of weeks ago. To your point, the Chiefs' run defense is not all that recently as well. In fact, over the last month, they are a bottom 12 run defense. The other thing that's exciting about Ezekiel Elliott, exciting being a relative term, is that last week he had a 30% target share. Bailey Zappi is not scared to just dump it off to Ezekiel Elliott. He was actually more effective through the air than he was on the ground against Pittsburgh. Volume got him there on the ground, but his touchdown was actually a receiving touchdown in that Thursday night game. We're not expecting Ramondre Stevenson to play in this one as well. So Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, welcome to the world, but he's a top 10 play for me in the first week of the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah. No, I like it. By the way, we should mention, it's not been ruled out that Brian Hoyer will be the starting quarterback tomorrow. So if you are absolutely desperate in a Superflex league and you don't have a second quarterback, go pick up Brian Hoyer, just in case.
You never know.
Yeah.
Well, that's my
So
quarterback.
it could be,
now.
you're saying it could be Hoyer or
You get the
Garoppolo.
Raiders.
Yeah.
Whoever starts with
yeah.
it.
Or
Just
O'Connell.
Yeah, and Tony Pierce is not committed to the best of those three magnificent options.
Right. Maybe what about Josh Jacobs? Josh,
Is
hang
he?
on. Josh Jacobs played Wildcat quarterback in high school. He's actually when he was in high school, they used him in a Wildcat. He played some quarterback in high school.
Listen.
Just in all seriousness, I'm
Something
going to go
about-
full Wildcat with Josh Jacobs.
Let's
see what happens.
They used the normal regulation quarterback against the Vikings and they scored 0 points. So it cannot get any worse. Literally, by
saying.
definition.
So anyway, that'll be fun watching.
Fun is an interesting word, yeah.
But again, this is why there's betting. This is why there's fantasy.
There's unders.
Because you know you're going to watch the damn game. You can't resist it. You're going to have to.
Yeah. I will say the line will definitely move in Vegas's favor if Jimmy G is the quarterback. Jimmy G is the best of these three guys, and I don't think it's particularly close. No.
All right, Lawrence, our final one here. Garrett Wilson against the Dolphins. He had a pretty big week, obviously, against Houston. You said you like Zach Wilson.
You had
Not a
already
bad
been
quarterback
eliminated from the
draft.
playoffs in our league, but he had a good week for you in our show.
Over
league.
20 points, Lawrence. Top 10 finish for him. Can he
It's
keep
a
it
ni-
going?
It's a nice time for that to happen there as I was out the playoffs weeks ago. He had 14 targets, so I think he can keep it going. If you're going to get 14 targets, if you're going to get double-digit targets versus any defense, it doesn't matter who it is, then you're a player that should be in lineups. But it was nice to see him have these numbers in the Jets offense play well, and Zach Wilson play well, them just doing well on that side of the ball
With a
overall.
lead, not garbage time.
Right, so that's how you know he'll be able to get it there. Like, you don't really take it to consider. Like, he's been in a kind of a cold streak recently. A couple of weeks ago, he had 7 catches for 44 with a garbage touchdown, but that was at Tim Boyle. I don't think any of us ever felt like Tim Boyle was the better option at quarterback. So, we just saw what Will Levis and that Titans offense did to that ailing Miami Dolphins roster. So, we still like Garrett Wilson.
One of the arguments against Zach Wilson was just he could never get the ball to Garrett Wilson, last year and everything like that. But very quietly, 4 of the last 6 games where Zach Wilson has been the quarterback, Garrett Wilson's had at least 17 fantasy points. Now, occasionally it's it's got to be a crazy one-handed catch, or it's got to be a broken tackle and he's off to the races. But by hook or by crook, Garrett Wilson has been able to get at least 17 fantasy points in 4 of the past 6 with Zach Wilson as well. He's my wide receiver 18 this week. I think if you have Garrett Wilson and you've managed to make the playoffs, I don't know that you have a better option. You're starting him.
Yep. Firstly, great usage of by hook or by crook. That's the first one in a while. Me and Connor enjoyed that
did.
one. I'm sure Lawrence did
Already
too.
laughs on the desk.
But the other thing too is Javon Holland has been the best player on the Dolphins defense.
Have you never heard that phrase
No, I
prior
have.
to me?
I've
saying-
heard it plenty of times.
Right.
But yeah.
Just from old people?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, precisely. From the Joe Flaccos of the world.
That's my
Wait,
contemporary.
hold on,
You don't
hold
hear
on.
Easton
At the
Stick saying
nursing
that, my
home, we
friend.
use it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm older than Joe Flacco. What's going on here?
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
Javon Holland, just quickly.
The issue is you have a youthful appearance to you, Lawrence. I look
need
old
this
as
Javon
dirt.
Holland stat like
The
I need
issue is just
oxygen.
you and I might be the same age. I just look old as dirt. And you have a youthful appearance to you. It's very upsetting.
Listen, because Connor wants to hear the Javon Holland point.
Yeah, go ahead,
He
go
has,
ahead.
so he's
Yeah.
been the best player on their defense, and he said yesterday he has 2 sprained MCLs, but he's optimistic about playing this week.
Interesting.
Which is
I did. I saw that yesterday too. I was
Von
like,
Holland, the king of the Hail Mary, by the way.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's
Yeah.
2 sprained MCLs.
Yeah,
All right.
I have very healthy MCLs. I'm not playing tomorrow. So there you go. There's
All
that.
right.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully, respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.